So I guess if we look at the 2 or 3 things that I'm really proud of accomplishing this year, I think really getting the strategy in place was the key factor when we started out the year. And as a board, I've been very, very pleased with the fact that we've got now a strategic direction from 2012 to 2014. And that strategic direction really is around those 3 pillars of growth of career, content and the business of IABC, and the board worked really hard to get those in place, and I'm really proud that we were able to launch that in January, ready for this next 3-year cycle. The other one, yeah, it's a big one, is actually replacing the executive director. When Julie Freeman left as president, it left a big hole for the association, and what we needed to do was find somebody that really could fulfill that role and come in, and the search process was quite long, but it was a brilliant process. Finding the right person was absolutely key to the direction of the association. I'm very proud that we were able to put that in place. So I think from a process point of view, why the search for an executive director took so long is that we established the committee very early, and it was important to get the criteria right for what we wanted. So we wanted somebody not only with the communications background, but somebody that has association experience, understanding of the corporate world as well, and business. So the search was quite a global search, and we said we're not going to contain this just to the North American market. We were searching globally. So we enlisted the support of a global search firm. Why the process took so long is that we actually got to the end of the process, found a candidate, and unfortunately they pulled out at the last minute. But I believe in kind of serendipity. Things happen for a reason. We went into the search again, and we had a gap of maybe 3 months before we were able to find that next person. But I think we found the right person at the right time. So one of the big proud moments was having Anna Willey and Amanda Hamilton-Atwell work through the career roadmap with a huge committee that operated right across different committees. So we had people from accreditation, from Gold Quill, from looking at how we align our awards processes, all working together. And so it just crossed the boundaries of various committees into one. And we've now got a really strong direction. Failures, yep, there's always failures in any year, and you look back and you start reflecting on what could we have achieved. I think, as we start looking at our web presence, it's one of the things that we've been talking about, and we haven't quite got there yet. But I think the upshot of that is that we're able to look at this from a digital communication strategy point of view. So I'm keen to see that we move forward with that into the future, and I'm really keen that that's one of the things that get taken on, but I would have liked to have achieved that within the year. Probably another thing is, having actually launched into some solid training programs and delivering them around the world would have been great to actually have started that. We've got the executive accreditation program coming up in Melbourne later in the year, and I think that's going to be a huge coup to have a program outside of North America. But I guess I'm thirsty for getting things done really, really quickly and get on the road with it. So it would have been great to have some of those training programs. So in all, I think we've done really well. But there's always those couple of things that you kind of go, gee, I wish I'd got those done. So let me talk about the career roadmap in a little bit more detail. When I first got the committee together last October at a summit in Minneapolis, the question or the challenge is can we define the communications or the communicators' path through the profession? And what do we need to do at each level to support them with their direction and their career focus? So what training, development, what training and development opportunities were available to them, and how do we recognise them along that journey? And it really started around a conversation of accreditation first, but really that's second. We have a great program in our accreditation, but the career roadmap team, what they needed to develop, and they learned very quickly in the process, is a body of knowledge that says, let's define the profession. Let's look at the body of knowledge that defines our profession, looks at all of those areas that make a communication professional. And once we understand what makes a communication professional, what are those training courses and skills that we need to develop? Once we've got the skills and the courses, then how do we recognise? And so we started exploring, or the committee started exploring, those areas that says, do we need credentialing at various levels in our career? Do we need it to be an ongoing process? Do we need it to be a process that people gain and then recertify as an accredited communication professional? And how do we support them from an IABC perspective through that? And then line it up with the awards. I spoke a little bit about the awards process. So can we have levels of awards? Because we're already doing it at the chapter and the regional level, where we've got the bronze and the silver quills, and gold quill recognising that huge step, that best of the best, that excellence. And so can we dovetail all of these things in together that says we train, we accredit, and we reward communication professionals at every step in their career? And I'm absolutely thrilled with the progress that's been made in defining that plan, and it's now time to be able to deliver on that. You know, we're in an area of flux when it comes to our profession, and I think trying to define ourselves has been the biggest issue right now in terms of, particularly in the internal communication space that I work in greatly. There is so much coming in from we're focusing on employee engagement now, we're focusing on change, we're focusing on combined strategies. We're seeing PR go through a really reinvention of itself. And I think the future of communications is going to be around responding to the difference, responding to the variance in what's happening in our profession. I think we've got to be on the front foot. Digital is the way to go, and as we have the debates these days around, is digital IT, is digital communications, well, I don't think it matters. I think it's what is the strategy and how do we get there, because the demands for content and content now and interaction and collaboration are just so critically important, and it's great to see fabulous examples of how that's coming together. You know, if I look at the Be Heard Austin site, which is one of my favourite sites, it's got information coming from different associations. Wow, are we breaking some barriers of saying it's not just about IABC, it's about the profession. And we've got to get content from everywhere. We've got to get people to collaborate. If we're going to overcome the language barriers of communication, particularly within our profession and at IABC, we've got to reach out and share that content. It's not about just producing it and pushing it out, it's all about pull now. And I think when we see great examples of collaboration, we know that's key to where we're going around a very solid strategy. I think we're on a winner. All I can do is speak from the heart. The last year has been an amazing ride. It's had some highs, it's had some lows. At times, sometimes you feel like you're herding cats, but I tell you what, the membership of this association is just so very strong. It's full of very talented, dedicated volunteers who are prepared to go that extra mile and put in so much time and effort. And I guess my reflection on the last year is, I'm just so impressed. From a real deep part inside of me, I couldn't be more thankful for working with an amazing bunch of volunteers, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I think I'm very humbled by the experience of working with such amazing professionals.